Good afternoon. Welcome to the last talk of this series for 2021. Our last speaker of the year today is Olena Torbaniuk. She got her master in 2015 at the astronomy at the Taras Shevchenko National University in Kiev, in Ukraine. In 2018, she also got her PhD at the National Observatory, still in Ukraine. And the same year, she also started her second PhD at the Department of Physics at University Federico II in Naples, under the supervisions of Professor Paolillo and Longo. And she actually got her PhD and defended it in June 2021. And she's now a postdoc in the same institute. She's an expert in AGN physics, coevolution of host galaxies and AGN. As a matter of fact, today she will tell us about the connection between star formation and supermassive black hole in the local universe. Please, Olena, stage is yours.
So thank you very much for invitation to this seminar. It's really important to me right now, especially before my PhD defense and with all this situation without conference. So it's very nice to present somewhere my work. So as Franco said, today I will speak about the connection between star formation and supermassive black hole accretion in the local universe. So first of all, a couple words about what we know about AGN and host galaxy connection. So we know that AGN, it's actually a relatively small part inside the galaxy, because the recent study shows that the size of AGN, it's like from 10 to 100 parsec. But at the same time, we know that the host galaxy, the average host galaxy, is size like more than 10 kiloparsec. So it means that AGN is really small compared to the entire host galaxy. And taking into account this situation, besides, we also have questions like, is it possible that such tiny scenes inside the galaxy can be connected to the entire galaxy, or can they affect in some way the entire host galaxy? And if, for example, we have this connection, if we can find this connection, so which kind of processes or which kind of mechanism can connect this tiny AGN to the entire host, the huge host galaxy? So the recent study shows that there are a couple evidence which show us that actually we have this connection between AGN and host galaxy. The first evidence about this connection is well-known time correlation between mass of supermassive black hole and some properties of host galaxy. So these properties is usually bulge luminosity, bulge mass of the galaxy, also velocity dispersion of stars inside the galaxy, and also this correlation with total stellar mass of galaxy. But at the same time, studies show that we don't have any correlation with disk properties of galaxy, or we don't have the same correlation between black hole mass and properties of host galaxy. For example, for galaxies with a pseudo bulge, where we don't have very huge bulge. So so we see this correlation, but in some cases we cannot observe it. So for some galaxies we can, and for another no. And the second evidence of AGN host galaxy connection, it's actually the evolution of these objects. So if we study the evolution of AGN, we actually see that AGN follows the so-called luminosity-dependent AGN evolution. And the host galaxies processes, they also show very similar to this AGN evolution trend, which called the cosmic downsizing. Actually, this cosmic downsizing effect is observed for star-forming galaxies mostly, not for entire population of galaxies. But again, they are really similar, and that's why it can point to us that probably there is some connection between AGN and host galaxy. And the third one is that the third evidence for this connection is that the shape of AGN activity over cosmic time is also similar to the shape of global star formation rate activity in galaxies. They both have peak around redshift 2 and 3, and they also show a rapid decline with the redshift to the local universe. So as we see, we have these three evidence which point for us that AGN and host galaxy can be in connection. And after this, we have like questions. So what can be, which processes can affect to this connection and other things. So the possible explanation of this AGN and host galaxy connection is that first of all that we have correlation between formation and evolution for different galaxy types and AGN. Probably then we have also various AGN feeding processes inside different types of galaxies. And also we have the AGN and stellar feedback, which can be affected galaxy, or galaxy can affect the AGN inside the galaxy. So in my work, I have mostly concentrated on the third evidence, which is black hole accretion rate and star formation rate connection. So this issue is very well studied for high redshift universe, where we have a galaxy with really powerful AGNs inside, and where we have galaxies with powerful active star formation. So, but at the same time, it's very poorly studied for local universe, for redshift less than 1. And it's, for us, for scientists, it's very interesting to study these processes and this connection at low redshift, because first of all, we can observe here the most weaker AGN than, for example, at high redshift. So we can study the mechanism inside the more low luminosity AGNs. And also it means that we, at low redshift, we can also study the quiescent population of galaxies. Galaxies with more passive star-forming processes, with quenched star-forming processes. And this helps us to understand how exactly the AGN can be fueled by the material in the host galaxy, and how, in which way AGN can affect the host galaxy also. So for this purpose, to study the black hole accretion rate, star formation rate connection in local universe, we used a parent sample which was created from the catalog of galaxy properties from SDS-SDR8 spectral catalog. It's also called GalSpec catalog. We selected more than 700,000 galaxies with the redshift less than 0.33. Here on the right side, you see the distribution of star formation rate versus stellar mass for this galaxy sample. And as you see, this diagram shows us that the galaxy population can be divided in two separate branches, or two separate types. The top part is the so-called main sequence of star-forming galaxies. In this part of diagram, usually we have the galaxies with active phase of star formation. These galaxies usually have spiral or irregular morphologies, and they contain mainly young stellar population. At the same time, on the bottom side of this diagram, we have the population of quiescent galaxies, which does not have so active star formation processes, or they absolutely quenched. They have mostly aging in all stellar population, and morphology of this galaxy is mostly elliptical galaxy. So when we're looking at this diagram, we are wondering, so where do we have the AGN? So they on the top part or on the bottom part of this diagram? To find the AGN, we need to understand that at local universe, we have a problem with the contamination. So if, for example, we have an optical galaxy, it means that when we register the optical AGN, we also have contamination from optical emission from stars in the host galaxy. The same, the problem we have in infrared, for example, band, and in radio band and ultraviolet. So the best option for us in the local universe is to use the X-ray data, where we less contaminated by object inside the host galaxy, and so we can easily select the AGN in our sample. So for this purpose, we use the for X-ray detection of our galaxies, we use the sample of we use the catalog 3 XMM mutant serendipitous source catalog 3 XMM DR8 8 release. We selected for our sample almost 2,000 sources. We selected object in hard band because it's more it's easier to detect AGN in this energy band. And on the right side, we see the distribution, again, the distribution of star formation rate versus stellar mass for our sample. And the dots, it's each of object which have X-ray detection in 3 XMM catalog. So as we see, it's almost homogeneous. And again, we need to understand where exactly AGN and which of these objects are really AGN. So to select AGN in this X-ray band, we use two X-ray selection criteria. The first one is a well-known X-ray luminosity threshold, because we know that AGN have X-ray the bright AGN usually have X-ray luminosity more than 10 to 42 erg per second. So it means we can select all objects which has this luminosity higher than this number, and we for sure know that this object for sure is AGN. And the second option, we also use the ratio between X-ray and optical flux, and the ratio between X-ray flux and K-band flux. So also using this empirical relation, we can select the AGN in our sample. In result, we obtained that from almost 2,000 objects, only 496 AGNs have moderate to high luminosity. This object was selected exactly by that those X-ray criteria. And we see that majority of our AGN selected by X-ray criteria, I will call them in this work a classical AGN, that majority of them, 68%, occupy exactly the area of star-forming galaxy. So even in this diagram, it's visible that we have more classical AGN exactly at area with higher star formation rate. So what it means for us? First of all, we need to understand that this 496 classical AGN, it's only 24% of our entire X-ray sample. So is it means that other X-ray sources in our sample not AGN? No, probably not all, for sure not all of this object, but majority of them, it's low luminosity AGN, which cannot be selected by X-ray criteria. So to use all these objects that was not selected by X-ray criteria, we decided to make the X-ray luminosity correction. So it means that if we have some galaxy, our galaxy, we have X-ray emission not only from AGN inside the galaxy, but also from some additional object in the host galaxy. So in case of a star-forming galaxy, we have additional X-ray emission from low mass and high mass X-ray binaries. So using the scaling relation between X-ray luminosity and star formation rate, we can calculate the X-ray luminosity for these binaries inside the galaxy and subtract it from the total X-ray luminosity which we have from our catalog. So in this graph, we see the diagram dependence X-ray luminosity in hard band versus the redshift. Each dot, it's the object in our sample, the star-forming galaxy in our sample before correction, And this line, it means the amplitude of this correction. So how many luminosity we subtracted from the total luminosity. The same things we did for the early type quiescent galaxy, but in this case, the host galaxy can emit X-ray not only from low mass X-ray binaries, but also from hot gas. So we're using additional scaling relation for 3 types of different sources which can emit X-ray inside the early type galaxy, and did the same procedure as for luminosity of a star-forming galaxy. So after this, when we obtain the corrected X-ray luminosity, we decided to calculate the specific black hole accretion rate. So what specific black hole accretion rate it is? So usually the proper way to calculate the accretion rate for AGN, it's using the Eddington ratio. But in our case, we don't have the bolometric luminosity, we have only X-ray luminosity. And for Eddington luminosity, we don't have the black hole mass. So to avoid this problem, we can assume the so-called specific black hole accretion rate, which is a proxy of Eddington ratio. But in our case, on the top part, we have X-ray luminosity corrected by bolometric correction factor. And in the, sorry, and in the bottom part, we have the same Eddington luminosity, but instead of black hole mass, we have the stellar mass of galaxy, which is related to the black hole mass according to the scaling relation from different work. In our case, we use the simplest assumption from the Heron and Riggs when the black hole mass it's like 0.002 stellar mass. So then the first step of our work, it was to reconstruct the intrinsic distribution of black hole accretion rate in the local universe. But before doing this, we need to understand that X-ray observation usually is very different due to sensitivity of this detection. So as you see on this on the left, we have the blue dots, it's SDSS galaxy in our catalog. Then we have the green area, which is actually the XMM Newton footprint. So we see that not entire SDSS sample is absorbed by XMM. So we have only a small fraction of our sample absorbed by XMM. And the red dots, it's actually the optical galaxy which was detected by XMM. But there are several objects which was not detected by XMM, but they fall inside the area of XMM footprint. So it means all this object does not have really strong X-ray emission and we cannot detect it, or we have the problem with the sensitivity. So we know that the X-ray observation, they usually varies in the depth due to different factors like exposure time or off-axis angle in other detection properties. So to understand how many objects we should detect if we don't have this problem with the sensitivity, we need to correct the number of objects in our sample for fraction of missed source using the dependence with the observed flux. So for this purpose, we use the Flux XMM survey. It's a Flux limit survey. So as I said on this graph, on the green area, we have something like 40,000 objects which should be detected by XMM, but they did not fall inside the catalog. So it means if we don't have a problem with the sensitivity in the detection, we in the perfect way can get something like 40,000 galaxies. So for this 40,000 galaxies, we go to the Flux and try to find the reliable flux upper limit. So it means that the highest flux for this object in which this object can be detected. And using these flux upper limits, we plotted the cumulative distribution for X-ray sources with dependence of flux. So using this distribution for each different camera in our case, we can reproduce the black hole accretion rate distribution. So here we have different, first of all, we have different masses. So it means the smallest one up to the highest ones. And we have different types of galaxies. So in this part, star-forming, quiescent, star-forming, quiescent. And the gray in each of these graphs, the gray one is the number of sources with some black hole accretion rate in our sample before correction, so it means before sensitivity correction. And the color one, it means which number of objects with the current black hole accretion rate we should have after correction if we have the perfect sensitivity of our telescope. So as we see, the all classical AGN in our sample, they located at the higher black hole accretion rate. So it's accretion rate more than 3 in some cases more than 2, depends on mass. So it means that, and we see that majority of object, not the classical one, majority of object, it's actually low to moderate luminosity, low to moderate efficient AGN. So it means that in local universe, we don't have too many bright sources, too many AGN which are created at high accretion rate. So if we compare our distribution with the specific black hole accretion rate probability distribution from the 8th paper, we will see that the shape is pretty similar. So we also have a peak around the around the -3, -2, depends on the stellar masses range and depends on the type of galaxy. And we also have this decline to the higher accretion rate. And also the very interesting thing that which we can see here, that this peak in most cases for star formation rate, it's at higher accretion rate that for quiescent galaxy. So in general means that in general the quiescent galaxies, they have lower accretion rate than star forming galaxies.
22 minutes.
Okay. So, and very fast about the result about X-ray luminosity and black hole accretion rate in star and their properties with star formation rate and stellar masses. So, as you see in this diagram, we have the again the star forming rate versus stellar masses, and we calculated the median X-ray luminosity and median black hole accretion rate for some beams of star formation rate and stellar masses. And as we see again that most of these objects, so the median value of X-ray luminosity showed us that mainly we have only low to moderate luminosity AGN, and the same with accretion rate. So we don't have really powerful objects which are created really fast, so like a quasar, for example. So when we made several tests to check the dependence between these X-ray luminosity and black hole accretion rate with the properties of galaxy, we see firstly that there is increase for X-ray luminosity and black hole accretion rate with the stellar mass. So the X-ray luminosity increase in this direction for both star-forming galaxies and for quiescent galaxies. So we have increase with masses. And almost the same situation for black hole accretion rate. So we have the increase of accretion rate with the mass for star-forming galaxies, but unfortunately we don't have for quiescent one. So it means that probably the reason of this increase that if we have more massive galaxy, it means we have more material inside the galaxy which can be accreted by AGN. So it means that more material, we have faster accretion rate. So But in case of quiescent, we see that in average, with the increase of mass, we don't have the increase of black hole accretion rate. So probably it means, we have some problem with the fuel inside this type of galaxy, or we have different source of fuel and other things. Also, we checked if the black hole accretion rate and X-ray luminosity increased with the star formation rate. So as we see, for most massive object, we have the really huge, significant difference between the X-ray luminosity for star-forming object here and for quiescent object here. So it means that in general, population of star formation galaxy have higher X-ray luminosity of AGN inside than quiescent galaxy. And the same situation for black hole accretion rate actually. So star-forming galaxies, they accrete more power. They contain inside more powerful AGN than quiescent one. So, and again, it can be connected that we have in star-forming galaxies more material for accretion. And the last slide, it's actually the same like previous one, but in more detail. So we have just diagram dependence between black hole accretion rate versus star formation rate in 6 stellar mass beams. So we fitted this and obtained this result that we see that black hole accretion rate usually increased with the increase of star formation rate. And it does not matter in which masses of galaxy we see. So in all cases, for all stellar mass ranges, we see this increase. There is a problem with the first picture, because we don't have the quiescent galaxies in here. So here we have only star-forming galaxy. And if we compare these things with the high redshift results, we see that our slope is more flatter. So it means that we don't have so much powerful AGN and star-forming galaxy here, and it actually can tell us something about evolution of galaxy and AGN inside. So, in conclusions, as I said, we analyzed the intrinsic distribution of supermassive black hole accretion in the local universe. And we found that most of the classical AGNs represent only 24% of our sample, and they mostly occupy the active star-forming galaxy, which have higher star formation rate. Then we found the distribution of black hole accretion rate showed that nuclear activity in the local AGNs peaks at low accretion rate. And we also find that X-ray luminosity depends of host galaxy stellar mass for star-forming quiescent galaxies. But at the same time, the median black hole accretion rate shows this increase with mass only for star-forming galaxies. And these two, that X-ray luminosity and black hole accretion rate, they also show the dependence with star formation rate for these galaxies. And in the end, we also observed the significant correlation between black hole accretion rate and star formation rate in almost all stellar mass ranges. And we see that quiescent galaxies have systematically lower level of black hole accretion rate than star forming systems. So thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Olena. So, are there questions for the speaker? If I see any hand raised. I am not an expert, so probably my question won't be too smart. But the first question is that you said 25% of objects were identified as AGNs. What are all the others?
So as I said, just a second here. So yes, using that X-ray selected criteria, we selected only 24% of objects because they are really bright. So it means that you have bright AGN, which is not contaminated by X-ray emission from host galaxy significantly. So in other case, you have low luminosity AGNs, which X-ray luminosity very relative to the luminosity of host galaxy. It means that it's not so easier to separate these two objects.
Okay.
That's why we for sure know that this 24% object, they 100% AGN, but another one, they have some fraction of X-ray emission from the host galaxy. It means that they are AGN, but probably not so bright like that one.
Okay, I see. Thanks. I see one question from the audience. Manucci, please.
Yes, very nice talk, very interesting. If you compare the population of X-ray selected AGNs with the population of optical selected AGNs with the BPT diagram.
Yes, exactly. I can show actually the result because I have it here. So, one second, somewhere at the end, I have this. Yes, so actually we did a selection by BPT. So it's for sure, it's we have some object here, it's AGN and composite, and we did the three BPT diagrams. And when we compared this result from BPT with those X-ray which we obtained like this one. So we have a BPT here, and everything here, it's X-ray selected AGN. So most of them, majority of them, it's Seyfert 2 type. And some of them also liners, but not so many. It's like 14 or 0.6%. And another type, it's obscured AGN and optical band, which lies inside the star-forming region. So it's like this one. So if we compare the X-ray bands and AGN by optical BPT, we have the consistency like 55%. So another 45%, it's or composite object or star-forming object.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks. We have another question through the chat by Ciccone. Does the lack of powerful AGNs mean that we cannot really investigate AGN feedback statistically on these local SDSS samples?
The answer yes and no, because first of all, yes, we don't have too many powerful AGN at low redshift universe, because it's just from evolutional side. But also there is a problem with my sample, the parent sample, because it's optical galaxy sample. It means that we don't need inside. So if we have really bright AGN at low redshift, it means that in optic it will be so powerful that we don't see the host galaxy under this AGN emission. So we cannot calculate the star formation rate and stellar mass using this optical emission for galaxy. So our sample, the parent sample from SDSS, it's actually limited to really powerful AGNs. So these two sides. Firstly, my sample is limited to this object, but from other side, we have some low number of powerful AGN in the local universe, so we can study the AGN feedback. For sure, this AGN feedback will not be so powerful like others at a higher redshift, but again, it's possible to study AGN feedback at lower redshift.
Okay, I think that answers it. There is another question and another hand raised by Gianni, but I know a few, so I don't know exactly which Gianni is this, but please go ahead.
Giamovan.
Okay.
I have a question on the last slide before your conclusion, if you can show it again.
Yes, I can.
Okay. No,
this one.
Okay, this one. Yes, you said that your correlation is flatter than most of the other, but what is clearly seen here is that the black hole accretion rate that you derive is much higher than all the others at low star formation rate.
Yes.
Do you understand the reason for this?
Unfortunately, at moment right now, I don't know the reason, but probably it's connected to the sample which we used, because in our case, we use the XMM, it's entire sample of XMM which covers the entire sky. And in other case, it almost small samples like Cosmos or Candles field, so it's small one. So probably it's connected exactly to samples. But I need just to study more this question to understand why we have this different intersection between our and others' results. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to compare with something else because, as you see, we have only 3 works which really compare the dependence between black hole accretion rate and formation rate. So,
yes, okay, thanks.
Okay. I see no further questions. So, thanks again, Olena. As I said, this was the last one for this year. We will start again on the 11th of January with a new series of talk, I guess still pretty much remotely. And to everybody, have a nice end of the year and nice vacation. Thanks, Olena, again.
thanks.
And see you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.